So, Tad, thank you so much for being with me today. When I thought of supporting men, you were literally one of the very first people I thought about because you, you had such an incredible journey and your childhood was filled with so much personal struggle and pain. It's almost hard to wrap your head around it. When I read your book, it was honestly hard to get through in some points because the pain you experienced as a child was just so incredibly moving and touching and just hard to even read about. So I want to know, how did you get through all of that adversity in your childhood?
Well, when I look back on growing up and those times, I don't think I did have the strength or the adversity to get through it. It was difficult. It's only now that I look back and I realize, you know what, I made it. I'm a survivor, you know. But I think for me, it was the fact that I wanted to get through it. I didn't want to give up, even though I had moments of some real dark challenges and certainly some mental health struggles too that I had to persevere through. But it was just the knowing that I had goals, I had aspirations, you know, from being a police officer to wanting to help others to just seeing what life was going to be like whenever I could escape the challenges that I was facing. So for me, it was kind of just holding out that hope that there was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I just didn't know there truly was going to be one.
Explain the journey that led you to creating the charity Bullying Ends Here.
For me, it was actually two reasons as to why I created Bullying Ends Here. There was the part that we just touched on about the challenges I experienced growing up of abuse and neglect. But there was also basically a pivotal moment in my life in October of 2011. And I don't mind sharing that it was just a night I'd finished work, and as I do at the end of any day, just flipping through the news stories of the day. And one headline that evening struck me in a way that I would never have guessed possible. It said, "Ottawa teenager takes his own life because of severe bullying." And as I read that article that night, it was all about a young person, 15 years old, from Ottawa, named Jamie Hubley. He had experienced years of relentless abuse, traumatic moments, experiences in school. He had struggles with mental health, and I just had a real connection with him. It was when I was reading the story, and I remember clearly that there was a part that mentioned about how at the age of 15 is when he was strong enough and felt safe enough to come out as being openly gay. And there was just such a connection between his story and reading almost a way of a reflection of my life growing up. And something happened to me when I was done reading that article, and that is I was paralyzed. I was frozen in my bed, and I just thought, you know what? I didn't realize there were kids even today still growing up with the same feelings and thoughts that I grew up with not that long ago, but sometimes it feels like a long time ago, of that feeling alone, thinking they're the only person, that reaching out isn't going to work, you know. And I just thought that I want to do something. I had no idea what it was going to turn into, but I felt so empowered because I remembered back to being a 5-year-old little boy who had a dream that I so badly wanted to grow up to be a police officer, because when I grow up, I want to be able to help people. And it's like everything, it's like my whole life just came, it was almost like the final piece of the puzzle just got put in place, and it just came clear of what I needed to do. And it's my calling is to help people. And it's not just from the perspective of being a police officer, but it goes beyond that, of just reaching out and trying to touch those that truly think that they're alone. And so I just thought, you know what, I got the family's permission, the Hubley family's permission to share Jamie's story along with my own. And that's what I do. I just stand in front of an audience, and it's just raw, it's just emotional, it's no holds barred, from the heart, and just sharing about what I went through, but how I persevered, and how I found the light at the end of the tunnel, how dreams are meant to be achieved. They're not meant to just be dreamt. And it was just one of those things that, you know, every day for me now is a journey that I can't even fathom what tomorrow's going to look like, because I'm so focused on living in the now. And I can't wait to see what comes up next. But it's exciting knowing that, you know, there's a lot of positive from the negative between Jamie's story and my own.
How is what you're doing helping others?
Well, I think the main way to answer that is you take into account, so as I just explained about doing the presentation, standing up there for an hour talking.
Are you doing these at
At schools, churches, community groups, basically grade 6 all the way through. I just only last month spoke at a penitentiary. So, I mean, anywhere and everywhere that I get invited, I go and speak. And it's, of course, it's on my days off. So it's totally unrelated to my police work. It's just my days off. This is just how passionate I am about it. But I think that is one of the reasons why it connects so well, is because youth and adults are hearing that I'm not doing this for money because I don't get paid. This is like volunteer work, really. It's a passion I have about sharing Jamie's message of acceptance and understanding that it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to reach out. In fact, it's probably very important to reach out and get the help you need. Or on the flip side, if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing and you're harming other people, that this is an opportunity to do that personal reflection and recognize that if you want positive change in your life, that positive change, it's got to start with you. We can't keep finger pointing and be like, well, if the principals, if the police, if the teachers, if the parents, because as far as we don't take care of ourselves, we can't be blaming other people. So I think it's just that personal connection that young people are having when I share my story and Jamie's, that they feel as though that it's almost like I'm speaking to them as an individual. So it's the going forward. So I get the emails. I mean, I get on average probably 20,000 emails a year. I respond to every single one of those emails. It's making that connection, the reassurance. It's okay to reach out. It helps. It's not the adult is going to run off and tell everyone what you just told them. It's about using that that trusted adult as a resource to find supports, to find advice, direction. Maybe if it's just some kindness and love, then that's what those individuals are for.
You get emails from the bullies too saying, you know
I
what,
do.
I am a bully and I'm going to change. Like, you've inspired me to change.
Yeah, and I wish I could share those emails because I do get a lot. I bet you I've had probably 500 to 1,000 of them. And that's always one of the very first things they say is that I'm a bully and I know I'm a bully, but Tad, I don't know how to stop. And at first, when I first started getting these types of emails, thinking like, I don't understand, like, just stop. But then you start thinking about it more and they would explain to me, because I would ask questions saying like, this is new to me, so can you help me understand, if you know who you are and what you're doing is harming others, then can you help me understand why you can't stop? And the common theme to that is the fact that they're in a social group at school. They are the nucleus, the bully, and they feel supported, liked, and accepted by their friends, because when they do something harmful to someone else, that's when the friends are like, hey, good one, buddy, or pat on the back, or a laugh, and then that makes the bully, that's right. It makes them feel important. So then they explain to me, but I don't know how to stop that, because I feel as though if I stop that, I'm not going to be important anymore to my friends and the people I'm hanging out with. So it's kind of working together on, okay, then how about do things that they're not going to notice is different. So maybe if you know the victim, your target is up ahead in that hallway, maybe inadvertently take a different hallway. No one would ever know that you did that, but yet you just did that. So you're still staying, with that important group to you, feeling the way you feel, but yet you just avoided your target and putting someone down. So you start with baby steps, and that's what I try to do, kind of work through it together.
What are you hoping to ultimately accomplish by the work you're doing through this charity?
My ultimate goal was very simple at first. It was, I just wanted to help one person. That was it. That was my commitment to Jamie's family when I first met them, is that I just wanted to reach that one person, whoever it may be. And I may personally never even know who that individual was, but that's all I wanted. I just wanted to help one person. But then when the emails started, something I wasn't prepared for, I started seeing that, in fact, this is having a very positive effect on a whole lot of individuals. And individuals equate into groups, and then groups into schools and communities. And so it's the spin-off, right? And then, so I don't know what my goal is anymore, because every time I reach for the stars, it seems like I've reached the stars, and then I got to find something else to reach for. So I just live in the now with the hope that I'm going to help just one more person. And just go from there, see how the cards kind of play themselves out as days go by.
What if you had to sacrifice, either professionally or personally, in order to devote so much time to your charity?
Well, I think for me, that's the tough one, is, with policing, just like any other job, you know what you're getting into. You know what the hours are of that line of work. When I don't even know what to call it, when I started devoting time to Bullying Ends Here, I didn't know what it was going to entail. I didn't know how many hours or time. It was just kind of like you just do it, and you don't even know how much time you're devoting. But as time went on, you start realizing that, wow, like when I get home at night, I've got a lot of emails to take care of, or I've got a website to update, or social media to put little blurbs and things on. So you start recognizing that, in fact, it's a lot of time. But then you start recognizing, but it's a good thing, because this is what I created. This is me. And everything about this program is me. It's my life, it's my story, it's my passion, it's my commitment to Jamie's family. So, you know, it's not work by any stretch of the imagination. It's a hobby, basically. And
Passion project.
yeah, and I think anyone that's ever volunteered anything, even just an hour in their life, they realize how incredible that feeling is. Even if it is just an hour, you know, you walk away feeling fulfilled. You feel really good, and I feel that. But on the flip side is I recognize that I devote a lot of time, you know, to the charity and making everything work, whether it's even just the travel or the different cities. So for me, I think the biggest sacrifice would just be my personal life, because I don't have one. You know, I'm very fortunate that I have a great group of friends around me that basically they jump when I ask them to jump. You know, if I send an email, say, hey, I'm free tonight, anyone around? You know, they recognize that that's pretty rare that I get those opportunities, so we can do that. So I think that's the good part. So yeah, it's the social life, but I don't say that as it's a bad thing. I don't even look at it as a sacrifice, but I recognize it's something in my life that I've had to put aside for a while. Yeah. But this is just as important, if not more important, to me.
Think back 10 years ago. Is this where you envisioned you would be today?
No.
No?
It's that easy to say no. For so many reasons. But at the end of the day, the reason why I would have said no at the time is because I was my own biggest obstacle. And I think everyone faces that at some point in their lives. They are their own biggest obstacle, whether they just have it implanted in their mind that I could never do that, or I'm not good enough for that, I'm not smart enough for that, I'm not tall enough for that. Like whatever it is, we put up our own obstacles and barriers. And I did that. I did that for all of my life.
Emotional glass ceilings.
That's it. Yeah. And I would have said no, because I truly believed 10 years ago is just before I got into policing, thereabouts, right around the time. But for me, it was right around that period of time. It's like, no, I'm never going to be able to be a police officer. At that point, I thought I was too old just a while ago. And so it was one of those things that that was my barriers. I thought I'm too old. I had laser eye surgery, so you can't be a police officer if you have that. So I would have said no to that. And of course, if anyone had told me that, by the way, you're going to be a public speaker, sometimes in front of thousands of people, you're going to be on television, you're going to be in a movie, I'd be like, oh no, I am not, because I am still a terribly, terribly introverted person. And to think at that time, even for me to think now about, holy smokes, like I do presentations last night in front of 100 people, I'd be like, no. Like I have to pinch myself constantly to remind myself of exactly what I'm doing. So no, 10 years ago, absolutely not.
What's something that people don't know about you that would surprise them? I think you just said it.
I think it's what we just touched on, that I am still very, very introverted. I crave being alone. Like for me, that's the time I look forward to. I think most in a day is, and I think for everyone you kind of have this. Like at the end of the day, when you put your head on a pillow, I've got a little puppy, so she sleeps right on my arm. And every single night, I tell her this is my favorite time of day, just to be alone. No one's going to be calling. My phone's turned off. The emails are done. It's just a time that I look forward to. It's just a time just to be alone. I call it Tad time.
Tad time.
Yeah, it's time with just me. And I crave it, and I find it really difficult if I'm around people for too long. I can sense that I start to struggle a little bit. So yeah, it's the point that I'm still really challenged in a group full of people. It's I don't know what to say, and I tend to revert back to policing or bullying ends here. It's just I don't know how to just have a regular, normal conversation.
Mm-hmm. And my favorite question of all the questions: what is your spirit animal?
Oh, easy. The unicorn.
What? I have a unicorn competition?
Yes, you do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and
Can we duel it with our magical horns after this?
Let's do it. Yes, my horn might be bigger than yours,
so
it'll be good. It'll be good.
Go there. You'd be surprised how big my horn can be. So why the unicorn?
Well, for me, I think it's because. Touching back to about Jamie's story, and the final letter that he ever wrote was, it was basically a farewell letter. It was a letter stating that he had had enough. But at the very end of that letter, he said, "I want to be remembered as a unicorn." And a lot of people would never understand that. But back at the time when Jamie passed, it was Glee was one of the biggest shows on television. And there was an episode all about the unicorn and how being unique, being different on the outside, it's okay. It's okay to be different because ultimately on the inside, we're all the same. We breathe the same air. We have the same desires. We want to find happiness. We want to be loved and loved back. So ultimately we're all the same, but it's a lot of the times, humans, for whatever reason, we can't get past the differences on the exterior. So, Jamie's story basically taught me and reaffirmed that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be who you are. It's being normal that changes who you are. So I think the unicorn is a perfect example of on the outside, very different, very unique, and that's okay.
So Tad, how can people support you and your charity, Bullying Ends Here?
Oh, that's an easy one as well. And it's the biggest obstacle we have as a charity is financial. I get requests from all over the world. How? I don't even know because I don't advertise myself. I don't go public with who I am or what I do. It's word of mouth. It's I have the blessings of the media are the kindest individuals out there that want to support me, that want to learn more about the story, that want to share that with their communities. And so as far as reaching out and helping those that need it most, that's never been a problem. It's the financial side in order to get there to do that assistance. And I think that's our biggest obstacle. So we've been fortunate enough in the past to have the support of Dominion Lending Centers, Industrial Alliance, there's the Calgary Coalition of Unions that we have, and the general support of individuals. But I think that's what we need going forward, is that we need the increased support financially, and that can easily be achieved by going to our website, bullyingendshere.ca.
Tell us about the grant you just received and how did you get that?
Oh.
You mentioned Industrial Alliance, but this was pretty spectacular.
It was something I didn't see coming, but again, it's one of those, you don't know what's possible in life unless you try. You give yourself the chance. And for us, it was a matter of we heard that there was going to be a grant put out there Canada-wide for any charity. And so what had happened was Industrial Alliance was going to celebrate their 125 years by doing a one-time $125,000 grant to just a random charity that's voted on by the general public. So that first, you had to be selected by their committee to be in the top 10, which we were fortunate enough to be a part of. And then what ended up happening is it went public. So for the month of November, it was open to anyone to vote. And the leading vote getter was going to be the recipient of the $125,000. So I am just so thrilled to be able to say we were that charity. So it's going to open up a lot of doors for us because that money is going to be used specifically to now educate adults on bullying and the effects of.
Okay, cool. And hey, you wrote a book. I read it. It's amazing.
Thank you.
If people were interested in getting it, how can they get that book?
The book is available in 2 spots as of right now. So Amazon.com, it's available, and it's also through my website, bullyingendshere.ca. And right on the homepage, there's purchase the book.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tad. So nice to have this time with you.
I'm honored to be a part of your program, and I will do anything I can to help out in any way moving forward.
Thank you, Dominion Lending Centers, for your generous sponsorship in making this video possible.